Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 3 of the Monday night UK&I Skip Barber series live here on RaceSpotTV. Tonight we're racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Canada, and it's going to be 16 laps around this 10-turn racetrack, and temperatures are fairly average, 75 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 89 on the track, and we have a stacked field today of 55 cars. Qualifying is just about to end here in any second, so I guess we just head straight to the starting grid for this one.
Yeah, absolutely, getting ourselves up onto that starting grid and throw the numbers.
It's Benny Simonson on pole position with a 132.746, almost 2/10 ahead of Lee Hughes in second, Simon Edwards in third, Tom Bridle in fourth, Ewan Pattinson in fifth, Lee Anderson sixth, Anthony Catt in seventh, Clark Williams in eighth, Anthony P.M. Jones in ninth, Simon Maltby in 10th. Then we have Richard Kent, Nicholas Von Roberts, Jack Bladden, Matt Cox, Martin Booker, Will Redford, Matt Hannigan, Dave Kirkman, Jamie Burt, and Jack Hobbs rounding out the top 20. The rest of the grid is on your screen, and well, Rachel, it's the track that never stops turning. Expectations for this one?
Yeah, basically, it's one of the tracks that I think is like an oval without being an oval, where you turn right rather than left. There really are no straights. There's no time to relax. Even the straight at the back is a curve. But it kind of belies the route you'd think you'd take on a straight. It's a great track. It's a racer's track, and it's an amazing track to drive.
It really is, and with us as well in the booth today is my co-Swede, Jonas Force. First time here on RaceSpotTV for you. What's your expectations?
Well, I suppose this race will be a really, really amazing race. Very entertaining. I mean, you can see in the starting lineup right now, we have half of the field standing straight, and the guys in the back are quite turned on their cars already, so we'll see what happens in the first corner down here.
Stacked field as well, like we said. The 1 second bracket we usually go for goes all the way down to P number 18, and it's about time to get ready. The engines are revving and the green flag is out. We are racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And as per usual, the front about 10-15 cars, they're going single file straight away here, coming down through turn number 1 and then down the off-camber Clayton corner. If you go off there, you're pretty much going to head into the barrier, so we'll see how they all go through there. Turn 1 though, pretty clean. There's some 2x2 and 3x3 further back in the field, but first side-by-siders for P number 6 and 7 between Lee Anderson going back, actually Anthony Catt passing Lee Anderson, and everybody seems to have made it through the first few turns cleanly here, Rachel.
Absolutely, an early jump here for Benny Simonson as they just clear Quebec corner now. Dropping through the fast chute here, the roller coaster down from turn 4 into Moss corner, which is turn 5A and B. A big dive here into 5A before it becomes a much, much tighter corner for 5B. Rather than 2 corners, this is definitely a double apex, so really it sets you up for the Moss Mario Andretti straightaway here at the back, which, as we said, really isn't straight.
No, it's just continuously turning back and forth. It's about 100 meters straight at the beginning here, and then it's just sideways all the way, or turning back and forth all the way down the straight, and down this is going to be pretty much like Spa with a ton of draft, and then coming down to the next corner here. Yes, we're probably going to see some 2 and 3 wide. As we see now, that's Lee Hughes on the outside of Benny Simonson, but it looks like Simonson is going to hold on to that lead now into these last couple of corners, and we see them going sideways here already. Not a lot of grip in this track today for these guys, so have to see how they make do with that, but it looks like it could cause some issues for some people, as we have a couple of cars going wide there out of the last corner. So first lap is done, and I think we only had a minor contact further back in the field. Otherwise, this is one of the cleanest starts I think I've ever seen in this series.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Mosport is one of the tracks you have to drive first, race second. So the guys have to focus on that early on. And my takeaway from watching qualifying, Linus, was that, and I'm sure Jonas, you saw this too, a lot of the guys spent the entirety of the outlap warming those tyres. The temperature's really hard to gain at the moment for these cars.
We can see all the way through the track that people are really struggling to keep the car on the tarmac here. I mean, they're using the grass as to expand their outer line when they exit the corners. So we'll see when they get some formed in the tires here.
completed about 1.5 laps now, coming back through this double apex right-hander you were talking about earlier onto that back straightaway. See if Lee Hughes can get a run on Simonsen this time. So it looks like it's going to be a bit closer than it was last time. Now we got Tom Bridle back and forth as well, backed off a bit from Simon Edwards actually, so he's not going to be a factor. But Lee Hughes to the outside of Simonsen, he's going to take the lead once again. He's going to have a bit more overlap this time than he had last time, and it might even clear him actually going into the next corner. It's going to be Simonsen on the inside still though, but Lee Hughes with the overspeed on the outside, and this time he's going to do it. Simonsen gets a bit sideways, loses momentum. They're all stacked up behind now. Edwards in third, Bridle holds off Pattinson here. Pattinson looking on the outside of him though, and Simonsen is actually going to get that lead back, but Lee Hughes has the overspeed coming off the corner, and they're 2 by 2, and Simon Edwards is stuck in the middle.
This is crazy. Go ahead, Jonas.
Just look at this amazing racing. I mean, we have cars running 2 by 2 all the way around the corner. I mean, look at the front field here. We've got 10 cars fighting more or less for the lead if we look at like later in this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and the pack up here is going to be tough. Well, there was a little bit of contact there between Ewan Patterson and the 44 machine of Tom Bridle. Just a little wheel kiss. They realised they were a little bit close. They backed off. It was carefully done. The track isn't the widest here, of course. In real life, right now, Mosport has so much concrete runoff. I mean, this track, when it's used by the Gander Truck Series, there's so much runoff. It's just asphalt everywhere, which makes it much less punishment. Whereas for these guys, you go off, you're on a one-way trip to wherever it wants to take you.
Yeah, it's a lot less forgiving here in iRacing, as this is what it looked like when they scanned it a few years back, but obviously a lot of tracks getting all that extra tarmac and concrete in the runoff areas, and now with all this battling going on up front, we've turned into a 14-car battle here, as we have 3 wide for, I believe that's P4, 5 and 6. That's going to be between Simon Edwards, Tom Bridle, Pattinson and Cat actually, and that's also Lee Anderson getting involved in that, but they're going to single file out as they come to the corner. Don't want to go 3 wide here through the SS, as we're on board now with Clark Williams just behind these guys, and they're jockeying for a position. Lee Anderson on the outside there of Cat, he's going to have to give that position up, so 1 position down for Anderson, and now they're racing for the lead as well here. That's would be Simon Edwards looking to the inside, but he's not going to be able to make that happen. So still Lee Hughes ahead of Simonsen and Edwards.
Just at a big moment there, coming through turn 8, 9 and 10, Linus, it's the 27 of Jamie Bird and the 361 machine there, Jack Hobbs. They're coming through, and there's a slight contact as Hobbs drifts out. Contact with the back end of Jamie, and he goes sideways, round, collects it. Nobody else involved, just a spin out, no actual damage to any cars, holds it in time, is able to get round and going again. That could have been terrible, because that's one of our big accident zones in this race, where we see most of the crashes in these final 3 corners, especially in the Truck Series. But they managed to keep that one pretty tight.
He certainly did, and unlike the Truck Series, in these cars you can't really push people out into the barrier coming out of the last corner on the last lap, so you're really going to have to set that run up. Still 14 cars being led by Lee Hughes and Matt Cox at the back of the group, and they're all within about 1.5 seconds of each other as well, so still anybody's race, as we have again now Ben Simonsen moving to the outside of Lee Hughes here, coming down the straightaway, and it's going to be Simonsen actually edging him out, coming down into the S's, and he might clear him as well. Here comes Edwards looking up as well, but he's going to back out, so the front 6 pulled away slightly, and then it's side by side again for PM Jones and Anderson in 7th and 8th, but Ben Simonsen back to the point.
Yeah, he really is, and it's going to be side by side. I was looking on a bit of a replay there, so that one does happen when you're looking at incidents there. But Benny out front ahead of Lee Hughes, with Edwards just behind them, Tom Bridle, Ewan Patterson, Anthony Catt, PM Jones back. We've not really got a separation at the front of this group. It's kind of going all the way back here. Seeing Vaughan Roberts, Simon Maltby back here in 12th place, Jack Bladden. This keeps going all the way down. Another group just back here with 16th place, 361 of Hobbs, along with Matt Hannigan. And the guys around him going to be including Madam Miles, Daniel Tufts, Martin Booker. Sarah Savage is in that group as well, as is Kevin Budgeon, coming through Quebec corner here. And a bit of a drift out there by the 85, Adam Miles, as he tries to find a bit of room on the track. Savage goes to the outside as they come into 4 under the Continental Bridge, and will drop down into the chute here that leads you into the setup for 5A into Moss Corner. We're going to single file it through there, nice and easy, as a little bit wide goes the car there of Hobbs, but everyone collects themselves. Good running.
Certainly do. Single file now coming down the straightaway, and these guys have already dropped 6 seconds behind the lead pack, which have all of a sudden spread out several seconds. But now we're looking at 2, possibly 3 wide here. That's going to be Hobbs going to the middle, and he's actually going to clear Hannigan straight away. Miles comes as well, makes it 2 wide, and he might gain 2 positions here, but Hannigan is not giving up. It's going to be Miles around the outside though, and he's going to take the lead in this group, moving up to P number 15. But we've seen that right side work before, so Hobbs looks like he's going to be able to hold on. It's actually going to clear him around the outside of that second part of the S's. It's amazing what sort of speed you get out there, but it goes a bit wide on the exit there, so Miles looks like he might come back, but he drops in behind him. So Valve for P15, sorry, still going strong as he gets really high on the curb there again, Miles. So going at it, but for now it looks like they're they're just going to keep on doing this the whole race. So we have a side-by-side back at the front again. It's Edwards on the outside of Hughes trying to get that second position, but he has to back out. So Simonson is taking it back, and Hughes there, and Edwards in 3rd.
Looking back in 35th place here is the 33 car, Paul Smith. He's dueling with Jamie Bird, Chris Morris, Christopher Kane and Mark Redford back in that group here. Paul once again not qualifying at all. But we've got some great fighting here as up comes the 27 there of Bird on the outside. It's a not great Quebec corner there from Paul Smith. They end up side by side here through 4. There's battling just ahead of this group as well. Wide goes Bird. And looks like Bird will get the word here as he gets the inside line for 5A. But this tight line should push it wide as another car ahead of them goes into the barrier. That was the 54 of Adam Koval. And they'll clean through here. And it should be draft advantage here to Paul Smith upon the Mario Andretti straight, or the kind of straightaway. Goes to the outside. Nice and textbook move here. The inside line is actually the fastest way around this corner, Linus, rather than taking a racing line through the big curves. You just stick to the inside line there. Tends to be the fastest. Paul Smith to the outside here for it. Can he hang it around? No, he drops back in line.
He does. He cannot hold it on out there, and if he's able to do that, the outside for the next corner is the quickest as well, so he would have lost that anyway. As we see him get sideways there, I don't know if Smith ran into car in front of him there of Jamie Bird or what happened, but they certainly had to check up behind. So Morris is right on him, and we're on board with Matthew Whitebridge here, who's going to dive right up the inside into the wall all the way before the corner, so he's going to have to back way out of that to not run into the 49 there with Chris Morris. So that group went from 4 cars under a blanket to completely spread out.
You can see all the cars are running sideways all the way around. I mean, we've been running for 7 laps now. We were, for just a couple of seconds ago, running with Matthew. Oh, we got a caution here. Yellow flag's out probably, but looks like every car steps out of this little incident here. Let's see what's happened.
Just coming down the hill, there's a big bunch of cars, and Matt Cox just runs into the car in front of him and then gets ran over by the 866 of gonna find out who that is. I don't even have him on my scoreboard. Maybe that was a lap car. I probably saw the wrong number on that car because there is no 866. Sorry about that.
Looks like a classic sandwich situation where the cars are just piling up and there is no room for all the cars around the corner here.
Yeah, one of those circumstances you just see sometimes on the racetrack. As looking towards the very front, it's Leah Hughes out ahead here of Simon Edwards. Benny Simonson back to 3rd as we have a move by Ewan Patterson on Tom Bridle into 2. Has the inside line. Got to watch there because there is a bit of a hump there where you see the grass cut away slightly, notch in the grass. That is where there's a bit of a hump in the racetrack from some repairs, and you did see him bounce a little bit there, but he makes the space and he takes himself through to 4th place here. And this pack is still huge. It goes all the way back here to Vaughan Roberts back in the 9th spot. But we've also got Richard Kent just kind of following along behind this group. So this front pack is absolutely massive.
Looks like nobody wants to be in 2nd place here, and I think that is one of the reasons why the front end of this pack is running a little bit slower, making it possible for the other groups around them to catch up.
2nd place seems to be a very bad place to be going down the straight, as you pass for the lead and then you get passed right back by 3rd place. So see how they play it out. Now we're just coming to halfway through this race. Leah Hughes had a big lead coming onto the straightaway, but here they go. It's Edwards up next to him, and Simonson is going to block Pattinson into the grass. That almost went bad. but it looks like Edwards is going to hold it on the outside of Lee Hughes, and he gets sideways this time. Now see if he can go deep in the next one, but in the left-hander here, the outside is quicker, so Lee Hughes is going to have the advantage, and now the inside is going to be quicker, so Hughes has the better line all the way through, but Edwards is able to hold it, and they're all stacking up now. There's 7, 8 cars here, almost running over each other. It's going to be 3 wide as well, because here comes Simonson up the inside. Lee Hughes in the middle is going to back out. Edwards around the outside. He's going to be able to hold it. He's going to go wide into the grass, but he's going to save it. Looked like he was going to lose it for a second. He's going to keep the speed as well, so he's still up the inside. There's 3 wide behind him. There's contact between 4th and 5th. That's Bridle running into the back of Pattinson. They're just ever so slightly, if they even made contact, but they're still side by side at the front. It's Simonson on the inside here, Edwards on the outside, Lee Hughes right behind him. Hughes has a look on Simon Edwards, and wow, that could have gone bad really quickly, but somehow they made it work. And that's Richard Humphrey getting out of the way. He nearly got ran over by everybody there. But thankfully he got out of the way in the very last second. That could have been ugly, and they're still side by side, 4 or 5 rows deep through the double right-hander here, coming onto the Mario Andretti straightaway. This is not going to end well if they keep doing this.
Certainly push.
Massive competition in the front group here. I mean, if you look at the speed when you're running 3 or 2 wide in row after row, I mean, everybody with a decent speed on around the lap will eventually catch up and be able to run for the top finish positions here.
3 by 3 down the straightaway. We had a car in the grass as well. That was Anthony P.M. Jones, but he somehow managed to keep it straight. And Benny Simonson is somehow going to hold on to the lead. There's Pattinson up the inside here. Edwards has the outside. He's going to drop down to 3rd. There's another car going in the grass behind, and there are 3 wide again for P number 4. That's going to be Cat on the outside of PM Jones. It's going to be Lee Hughes up the inside, and he's dropped all the way down to 60. He led the last lap. Now he's back up to 5th, but that lap going 3 by 3 cost him a ton. Now he's got Cat again back up the inside of him, coming down the left-hander here down the hill, and this is the place where you don't want to hit the grass. He's actually going to drop to 7th as Richard Kent gets through as well, and they're going to make contact. He's going to bash his way back into P number 6. And wow, these guys are doing stock car racing around this track right now, Rachel.
Yeah, they really are, especially seeing as they have no fenders. Look behind our lead group, and we have 3 wide back here with Richard Kent, with the 252 of Vaughan Roberts and Tom Bridle here. Those guys all over each other on lap 10 here of 16 in this race. Bridle there and Kent side by side for a moment, as up at the front end we see them going at it yet again. PM Jones here racing with the machine of Cat. Right at the sharp end, it's going to be side-by-side lap just ahead of this group. This could prove interesting in 8, 9, and 10, Linus. This will be a big interest because they're going to be on top of him in these corners. Basically now.
Yeah, depending on if they catch him in the turn or if they catch him later on, but they're right on the back of him. They go around him actually in the right-hander, and now he's going to be on the outside of these other guys coming behind. He's going to pull into the pits. No, he's going to stay on the apex. Oh, this could get interesting. They catch him right on the exit though, so it didn't hurt him too much, but the front three here, Simonson, Edwards and Pattinson, has definitely pulled away with this massive group racing behind him. So it's no longer a 10-car pack, but it's still a 5-car pack for 4th on back, as Edwards now gets another run on Simonson, and these guys behind, they're just nose to tail the whole way, and Pattinson seems to be struggling to hold on to these front two, but he might have just had a bad exit, because just as I said, as he's right back on the tail of Simon Edwards here. So front three have opened up a gap of about 1.5 seconds, and I think these three, they're clever enough. They won't race each other too hard. They're going to work together now for a couple of laps and then race it out when we get to about 2 to go, because now they've finally got that gap that they want, so the guys behind aren't really going to have that draft coming down straight away.
Being this defensive by the top three is basically 100% self-beneficial for them right now. They have been in the pack running from first position, losing it down to 10th position when this gigantic pack gets in their tails. So I think that these guys will wait. The question is for how many laps. You can see them going 2 by 2 down the straightaway now, which will lead to that the pack behind them will eventually catch up. You can see the Pattinson, if you look at the steering wheel, is very, very careful around the corner. You can see that the rear end is letting go. He's on a drift through here, and the car in front of him too. So it's really, really slippery around this track today.
Certainly is. Now front three coming across the line, right nose to tail, and that lap they actually managed to pull about another couple of tenths on the cars behind them, so they're doing a good job. And the guys behind, even though they're battling up at the front slightly, they're still battling a lot behind them as well. But we have 4th and 5th now of Cat and Lee Hughes. They've managed to open up a bit of a gap down to the rest of the guys as well. It's not much. They'll still be within drafting range, as you can see, but a little bit of battling behind them, and that gap could open up a bit more. But for now, it's still Simon Edwards leading Benny Simonson and Ewan Pattinson, as we're on lap number 12 out of 16. So 4.5 laps to go now. So we're coming up into the Moss double aped right-hander here once again. Always going to get really close to Pattinson, but he's not going to make a move. He's probably going to line Simonson up here. Edwards has a bit of a gap to him though, but this draft is just so massive. Simonson is going to come flying right past him, and we will probably expect to see Pattinson backing out a couple more laps. You can see him even moving out of the draft straight away to make sure he doesn't get a run and makes the pass here.
Yeah, here he goes now around the outside of Edwards. Simonson looking for that move. He's going to have a good shot here to be ahead by the entry to 8. He's clear, in fact. We'll see Edwards drop back in here with Patterson in 3rd place there. Where he could have now got, that's a big advantage, Linus. That's a 2.5 on the guys behind him, Anthony Cat, Lee Hughes, PM Jones. And that's enough to separate out who's going to win this race from the rest of the pack here. I think unless anything happens in the next couple of laps, it's these three that have really got this chance. It's very wide there by Simon Edwards. I think he wanted to make sure the grass was exactly the right length for the finish.
Yeah.
The grass is a part of the track, as they say, and I mean the number one thing that Pattinson want to see is a fight behind him on the fourth place, but as we can see now, the 4th person is running through his back and is starting to close in on the leading 3.
Yeah, Lee Hughes, he dropped all the way back from the lead down to 7th. Now he's back up to 4th, and he's not interested in battling anybody, and he's got Cat behind him as well. So 2 guys there, very experienced as well at the front of that pack. So if those 2 can work each other and get the other guys to back off slightly, they might just be able to catch up to the front. We're coming to the Moss double right-hander once again onto the straightaway. It's about 3.5 laps to go, so it's not a lot, but it did close in 3 tenths on that last lap. So Lee Hughes and Anthony Cat definitely doing a good job working together back there, and they are within some sort of drafting range now, so they will get a bit of slipstream from Pattinson, Edwards and Simonson, and they might just close up. So this could very well be a 9-car battle coming into the last lap. As we see now, Edwards moves out of line. He's going to get the draft past Benny Simonson for the lead. Simonson is going to back out. Pattinson is going to back out and get a run on him. So they're doing exactly what they have to do to be as quick as possible, but it does not look like it's going to be enough. However, Cat has passed Lee Hughes, and that gap might have opened up just slightly. We'll have to see this time by what the lap times say.
Yes, the usual shenanigans of trying to not be first in these last couple of laps. They want to be in that right place to make the move into 8 or through 8, 9 and 10. That's where the race is going to be won. Those final corners is where this will play out, and no doubt with the last couple of laps here, the guys will want to be second coming out of 5B and Moss Corner.
Remember a couple of years ago, Rachel, we had 2 cars battling for the lead. They had about a 10-second lead, and nobody wanted to lead on the last lap. They ended up being caught by 3rd and 4th, and none of them won the race. That was, I think they all got this in mind. I think Simon Edwards was one of those 2, so he's definitely going to keep that in mind, not to back off too much, which might be why he's currently in the lead. But still, just over 2 laps to go, so if he drops back this time, then he might be in prime position coming onto the straightaway on the last lap. But I'm not sure if you want to be 2nd or 3rd. If you're this close, you might even want to be 3rd, because you're going to get such a huge run on the leader as well. But it's all about the momentum, and on that last lap again, Anthony Cat in 4th. He closed in another 3 tenths on the leaders compared to the previous lap, on which they dropped back a few tenths. So I don't think they're going to be within range. But here comes Simonson back on the outside of Edwards. He's going to take the lead. Pattinson is there as well, but he's going to back out. So they're all playing it smart, and they're trying to do the same behind, but PM Jones isn't really playing along. He's going to be on the well, actually he backs out coming to the entry, so he knows what's up, he knows what he needs to do. And these guys obviously they want to battle for 4th, but at the same time they need to catch the lead pack, and they only have 2 more laps to do it, and they are about 1.7 seconds behind, so that's going to be a lot of work for them.
We have like 2 different kind of strategies as the leader in this pack right now. We're going out on the last lap with the 10 or about 20 corners around left in this race, and either you do run as fast as you can to try to pull away from the guys behind you and dance with those 2 guys in your lead pack of these 3, or either you start driving a little bit slower to make the pack behind you to get ahead in them and create this very, very big pack and create a mess behind you and try to play your cards right and win the race through that.
Lead pack is coming up on Jonathan Rex as well. Now a lap car. I think he's going to get out of the way though. You have to catch him on the straightaway. And the first half of the lap, these guys behind are actually closing up. But when they get on the straight, the front 3 are doing a better job. And like you said, there, Benny Simonsen, he could very well be trying to back these guys up to the guys behind him when they go around the rest of the lap to make a big mess behind him. And he might end up being alone coming down the straightaway. But I don't think it's working for him. Here comes Edwards again, and Pattinson, he's not happy sitting back there. He's going to make a move around the outside. Maybe he wants just to go up into second. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it though. Simonsen has the inside, and Pattinson going to get loose there on the outside. So Simon Edwards is going to come to the white flag with the lead ahead of Simonsen, Pattinson, and in the group behind him it's going to be Hughes leading PM Jones, Cat, Richard, Kent, Von Roberts and Lee Anderson in 9th. Those are the 2 main packs that we have right now, and Jonathan Rex still ahead of the leaders here. He's only about a second up the road, so at some point during this lap they are going to catch him. Let's just hope it doesn't create chaos.
Yeah, that would be a definite factor, I think, in this one. Probably towards Moss is where we'll see that grouping up form, and hopefully they get out of the way nice and easy. Should make things manageable, but Simon's leading here. Could be troublesome. Depends on when Benny passes him, or it could be depending on if Ewan decides to get involved as he decides he wants to. He wants out of the way. Yep, that's one way to get out of the way, I suppose. Make sure there's no problems as Ewan looks for a spot here in the opening to Moss. And it's going to be tricky for Simon Edwards here to hold this lead with the run that they're going to get on him. And here we go. This is the final run.
Coming out of the Moss right-hander for the final time onto the Mario and very straight away. We're on board here with Pattinson. We can see Simon Edwards doing the IndyCar line to break the draft down straight away. Pattinson trying to get to the inside here of Simonsen. He's going to get it, but Simonsen is going to box him in. He's going to go on the grass to get past Edwards. It looks like he will. He puts 2 wheels in the grass anyway, but he's not going to go fully on the grass. Here they come side by side. Simonsen moves to the left to give room to Pattinson, but he's not going to take it. It's going to be Simonsen leading, coming into the 3rd to last corner, and he's going to be clear as well of Simon Edwards. Edwards has the outside now on Pattinson. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Benny Simonsen coming out of the final corner with the win. Edwards is going to get 2nd place ahead of Ewan Pattinson. Oh, and he's going to have a massive wiggle across the line. What a finish that was. And behind him, they're side by side as well. It's going to be Hughes ahead of Cat, Kent, Von Roberts, Anderson, and
PM Jones is out.
Anthony PM Jones has crashed on the final lap. I think that's him limping across the line right there. He's trying anyway. Contact. He's in the walls, so something has happened.
With the 55 car, a little bit of a nudge there from the 55, and it just sent him sideways there into the wall. Got damage, and he had to limp across the line. That is unfortunate, and I believe the 55 is. No, it's Richard Kent. That was Richard Kent. Had just a little nudge, race against him, but one of those things. Unfortunate there for Anthony PM Jones.
Yeah, you can see there Kent. He just gets a little bit loose coming out of the 2nd to final corner, hits PM Jones straight into the barrier, and he's fortunate that he can even roll across the line. But that's just what's going to happen when you get these tight finishes and these tight races. So now, before further ado, let's go through your post-race results. We have Benny Simonsen home with the win here, 3/10 ahead of Simon Edwards, with Ewan Pattinson on the final podium position. Lee Hughes wins that 2nd battle. In 4th, it's Anthony Cadd, Richard Kent, Nicholas Von Roberts, Lee Anderson, Tom Bridle and Jack Hobbs in 10th, about 6 seconds behind those guys ahead of him. It's gonna be Simon Maltby in 11th, Daniel Tufts in 12th, Adam Miles 13th, Anthony PM Jones, like we saw, they're limping home in 14th, Martin Booker in 15th, Sarah Savage doing a good job getting up to 16th, Peter Parnell 17th, Kevin Budgeon in 18th, Will Redford in 19th, and Matt Hannigan rounding out your top 20. Now, speaking of our Paul Smith, sorry. We can see him there in P number 30. He climbed up from starting in P number 49, so decent gain for him. Not the 30 plus positions we usually see him gain, but still a good race for him. So see if we have anybody in for post-race interviews just yet. No, not so far. So, Rachel, any final thoughts on that race?
It was certainly a busy race, a classic motorsport race with a lot of passing, a lot of side-by-side. It was good. Really fun race.
Definitely was. Jonas, any thoughts on what we've just witnessed here today?
I mean, my pulse is so high right now. It feels like I'm been out running for a half a mile or something like that. I mean, it was so much action going on all the way over the track, everywhere. And I mean, when you're running 10 laps into the race, of a 16-lap race, and you can't decide about 10 or 14 different drivers who's going to win this in the end, it's an amazing race. It's amazing entertainment for the guys in the broadcast and the guys at the stands today.
Well, we'll see. It usually takes about a minute or two for people to show up here. But for some reason, they don't seem to want to be talking to us today. So I guess we'll wrap it up right here. So next week, we'll be the same place, the same time as usual. Hopefully you can join us then. Hopefully we'll have the same kind of stacked field as well. I just lost my schedule here, so I can't remember which track we're at next week. But hopefully it's going to be a great one. I've been Linus Prim. I've been joined by Rachel Whitefoot and Jonas Force, with Hugo Luis on the cameras. It's been Monday Night Skippys on RaceSpotTV. Stay safe and have a good weekend. Goodbye.